The 1930s in American railroading saw great changes. New steam locomotives were constantly being built for different railroads, and diesel locomotives only started making their presence known. But most especially, the introduction of the streamliners. The year of 1934 was the year of the streamliner, where dozens of new and glamorous trains were rolling out of the shops and onto the main line. Most of these were high-speed, articulated, and powered by diesel engines. Some were powered with steam locomotives. One of the most famous examples was built for the Union Pacific Railroad and was called the M10000. This train shocked the world with how sleek, colorful, and fast it was. The M10000 powered the UP's daily City of Salinas train and had a staggering top speed of 110 miles per hour, which was incredibly rare back then. According to Adam Burns of American Rails, the reason the UP did this is because they were hoping to lure the public back to the rails after witnessing a whopping decline of 77% in passenger revenue from 1920 to 1932. Also according to George Welsh in Kevin Hovland's book, The Union Pacific Railroad. This downturn in rail travel was primarily caused by the brutal ongoing Great Depression, but as soon as UP came to learn, it was also a result of its insufficient services. Over the next few years, the UP introduced an entire fleet of city trains connecting to big cities all across the country, like Denver, Los Angeles, Salina, Kansas, and San Francisco. The latter commenced service on June 14, 1936, and also ran to Chicago via Cheyenne in conjunction with the C&W, which ferried the train between Omaha and Chicago. At the same time, the UP introduced another train as a supplement to the then new City of San Francisco service, dubbed the 49er. It was called the 49er as a tribute to the fortune seekers during the California Gold Rush in the mid-19th century. The thing that made this 49er service most unique was the fact that it got its own streamlined steam locomotives, both of which are the only ones ever built to serve on the UP. One locomotive, numbered 7002, was built in 1922 by Alco. Built as a 482 mountain type under the MT1 class name, it pulled both freight and passenger trains. It received a rather unique streamlined shrouding in 1937, and it was commonly called the bathtub because of it. The other locomotive, number 2906, was built in 1920 by Baldwin. It was a 462 Pacific and was in the P13 class of locomotives. It, like its sister engine, 7002, was also shrouded in 1937, but before that, it pulled express passenger trains and select commuter trains. The 49er went from Chicago to San Francisco by way of the Chicago Northwestern Railroad. Since the 49er was an express version of the current San Francisco service, it stopped at fewer stations. Leaving Chicago's C&W depot, it went straight on to serve Omaha, Grand Island, North Platte, Sydney, Cheyenne, Laramie, Rawlins, Green River, Evanston, Ogden, and Sacramento before closing in on its monstrous journey at San Francisco's Market Street station. The route length came out to a gargantuan 2,263 miles, with a total travel time of 48 hours and 42 minutes, hence the 49er name. The 49er had an obscure frequency of running 5 trains a month in each direction. Train numbers were 48 and 49, with an average speed of roughly 46 miles per hour. The streamlined shrouding upgrades to the locomotives actually allowed them to easily cruise at 90 miles per hour across the plains, completing the trip in just over 2 days. The consist was a total of 9 Pullman cars, a baggage dorm car, a diner car, a barbershop car, 5 sleeper cars, and a sleeper lounge observation car in the rear. Unlike most streamliners, the train cars did not follow with the locomotive livery, but instead had a separate one. By 1939, the train was doing great. However, its biggest event was in 1940, when California's term for World's Fair happened. It was called the Golden Gate International Exposition. By now, the 49er was the last transcontinental all-Pullman train to run along the overland route, according to Utah Rails. The Golden Gate International Exposition was basically a World's Fair, which is a huge event all across America. It was hosted on San Francisco's man-made Treasure Island to celebrate the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge. The Santa Fe inaugurated a special service between Bakersfield and Oakland, California, dubbed the Valley Flyer. No, not the Amtrak train, the Santa Fe one. featuring a semi-streamlined steam locomotive and 4 passenger cars. It ran from 1939 to 1941 during the exposition. The 49er had a similar case, except it was inaugurated 2 years before, and the locomotives were fully streamlined. When the Golden Gate International Exposition ended in 1941, the Santa Fe discontinued the Valley Flyer service, returning the semi-streamlined steam locomotives to regular service on less glamorous jobs. The Union Pacific would soon follow suit, ending the 49er service the same year. The last run would take place on September 29, 1941. The streamlined steam locomotives, 7002 and 2906, were stripped of their shrouding and went off to work on far less fancy workloads, being assigned to passenger and freight service once again until being scrapped by the 1950s. The 49er's discontinuance was also an effort to put more of UP's diesel streamliners into service, according to American Rails. Variants of the M10000 rolled out, like the M10002, M10004, and yada yada, you get the idea. This caught the attention of the UP's competitors, the Southern Pacific and the Santa Fe. With this, both railroads rolled out trains that would become world famous, like the Super Chief and the Daylight services. The 49er was an exotic and unique short-lived streamlined service that only survived for about 4 years. It's a shame no remnants of the train survive today, as both locomotives were scrapped before 1960. The route it went on is still an incredibly important gateway to the west coast of the US, being used daily by hotshot freight trains and Amtrak's California Zephyr between Chicago and Emeryville/San Francisco. I hope you all enjoyed this quick video on a short-lived luxury train offered by one of America's most famous railroads. You can like, subscribe, or do both if you want. I won't force you to. Anyway, that's all I'll say for this video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome day.